What's up, everybody? How we doing tonight? Welcome into Dollars to Deuces. This is episode 21, talking about Super Wildcard Weekend as a Toilets to Titles production. Tonight, I am joined by my buddy, first timer on I think YouTube, podcast, anything. So, Abe, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Good. How are you? Good to be with you.
Yeah, doing good, man. I know we talked about it a while back having you come on. We just always kind of forget and things happen, and it worked out well this week. So
yeah, it did.
Hell yeah. You can find Abe on Twitter at MVINFF. It's the easiest way to say it instead of doing it that way. You can find me on Twitter at Nate_Dirt19. You can find the show at Toilets Titles if you didn't already know that. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, Podbean, YouTube, Facebook, all the good stuff. If you're listening to us on Apple, please like, subscribe, and rate and review if you would. Anything else, you can DM me or whatever. If you got anything, tell me how bad I do. So that's fine. Also, if you get a chance, check out totalstyles.com. Still pumping out content all the time, and we will be throughout the season. I know we're already talking about stuff for the draft, so be stuff all the time. And the last thing real quick is our Patreon, patreon.com/totalstitles. 3 different tiers. Talked about it quite a bit. I'm not really going to go into them tonight. And the last thing, I don't have a banner for it, but we do have a playoff league going. I believe the deadline to get in it is tomorrow. It's ran through MFL. It's $10. 60% goes to first place, 30% to second, and 10% to third place. It is, I think last night we were like 65 people. So we were hoping to get to 100, but we'll see. That probably won't, but it'll be fun. You get to pick a guy or pick quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, a tight end, and a linebacker. Once you start a guy once, you can't start him the rest of the playoffs. So a little bit of strategy involved. So it should be a lot of fun. So now all that stuff's out of the way. I'll get into last week's stuff. I told Abe how bad I did, and he laughed. And it's been a rough 3 or 4 weeks. I think I've been doing better betting on just hockey, which I don't really understand how that is, but whatever. I like winning. So
bet against the bad teams in hockey.
Yeah, except tonight. Like I told you.
Except for tonight.
Yeah, betting on the Arizona Coyotes. I don't know that was a terrible idea, but we're okay right now. I'll run through Joe's picks real quick. He was 2-3 last week. Missed on the Bengals, -3. I think I was on the same side. I didn't pick that game, but I don't know. Without Burrow starting, it was kind of tough to see. I just figured the Browns are really bad. Oh well. He had Chargers -3 at the Raiders. So did I. I don't know. I would have hit a 5-leg parlay if the Chargers covered those 3 points. So that was cool. Thanks. And Cowboys, he actually had the Eagles +7. I think like a lot of people, he didn't think Dak would play the entire game. And wasn't even close. He was right though. He had the Washington football team -6.5 at his Giants. They beat him 22-7. And then he had the Bucks -8 with the Panthers, and they smoked them. So I told Abe I was 0-7 last week, so that was good. Hopefully you bet against me because that would have made more sense. Chiefs -10.5. Somehow they only won by 4. I didn't even watch that game. I don't remember what I was doing Saturday. The worst one for me was the Colts -15.5. The Jaguars. I should have known that they don't win in Jacksonville. They aren't in the playoffs now because they got beat by the worst team ever. Did you watch that game?
Yeah, I did not watch that game, but I did make a call the day before saying, look out for those Jaguars. Indianapolis doesn't play very well. And I just thought it was awfully ironic that that the way the NFL schedule kind of played out, and they were hoping for, for nothing else to matter on Sunday Night Football. And then all of a sudden we found out that if Jacksonville beats the Colts, we could have a tie on Sunday night and both teams could get in, and they wanted a win and in scenario. So I thought, man, this would just be right up everyone's alley for the NFL if Jacksonville did win. And of course they did, and they won pretty handily.
It's, and everybody's bitching about this or that, whether it's Carl Wentz's fault or Frank Reich. I mean, I love Frank. At the end of the day, the players are on the field and they got to make some plays. I mean, and Wentz looked terrible.
Wentz was really bad.
I don't know. I don't think he's really. I mean, it's like he gets upset that he has to hand the ball to Jonathan Taylor, but I mean, why wouldn't you want to do that?
Yeah,
Get that guy the ball 40 times.
Yeah, if I had that job and it was handed off to this guy, and at any time he could bust one for 85, I think that would be a fairly easier job than trying to drop back and have everyone rush you like crazy. So I think the more Taylor gets the ball, the less pressure he gets on himself. But unfortunately, he doesn't. I don't know if he quite thinks that way.
No, and I mean, their offensive line looked really bad, which was weird. You know, they got 2 Pro Bowlers on the offensive line. They usually look really good and protect really well. They didn't do that, so
yeah, it just all around was one of those games, and it felt like I had it on one of the TVs on Sunday, but I didn't have the commentary on. It felt like there are times where they just thought, well, at any time we can just kind of turn it on and go out and win this game, and then all of a sudden you saw with about 7 or 8 minutes to go, they started to panic a little bit, and it just was ugly. It was a poor performance. And I mean, give credit to Jacksonville. They played lights out. They played really good. Their linebackers were good. They put a pretty good blitz package against Wentz and covered well in the secondary. I guess held down Jonathan Taylor. He didn't get the ball as much as what he should have, in my opinion, and a lot of others' opinions as well. But anytime you hold Taylor under 100, that's a pretty solid day.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I've said it before. I know Justin that is on the show with me on Tuesday nights, like a big Colts fan. Like, it's frustrating when Frank stops running the ball, but I mean, when you're down, and I say that, and then of course the Niners are down 17, and Elijah Mitchell's running like crazy. So I guess it doesn't make sense, but you know what I mean. It's hard to run when you're down. Stick to that game plan. And
it is.
It is what it is. So
especially when they're putting that many in the box. I mean, it makes it easier to think, hey, we need to get a ball out and throw it a little bit. And Ty played pretty well, and you have some good guys out there on the outside. But ultimately it was he didn't Wentz didn't have a whole lot of time, and Taylor was kind of taken out of that game a little bit. Yeah,
but oh well, 7 Pro Bowlers don't make the playoffs, so that's cool.
Yeah.
I picked the Patriots too, -6.5. I just kind of expected Bill to kind of do well. And again, they don't play well in Miami. I should have paid attention to that. So I guess them losing got B-Flow fired or something. I don't know how that works. It is what it is. I did take the Cardinals -6.5. I guess I should have learned from – it's hard to tell that they beat the hell out of they beat the Cowboys pretty easily, and then they've just looked like shit the last 2 weeks. Again, they're in the playoffs somehow, but that game wasn't as close as the score was. I think they had 2 kind of cheap touchdowns to get close. So, is what it is. And I picked the Rams -4. I thought that they would kind of turn it on a little bit to get that team not in the playoffs. I mean, if I was the Rams, I wouldn't want to see the Niners in the playoffs. But they just – Matt Stafford, 7 interceptions last 3 games. I don't trust the Rams, and we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, this is something – you and I were texting quite a bit about on Sunday, and I said, man, there's one team that I don't want to face in the playoffs, and that's the Rams in the first half. Man, they looked awesome, and I mean, even Sean McVay, when he went off for his halftime interview, whether it was leaving the field or coming back, I don't know which one. He just said, wow, I mean, we were pretty darn good. We got to sustain it. This is a 4-quarter game, and to see that flip between halves, the first half, I thought, the Rams are, the way they're playing this first half is the most dominating team in the, in maybe in football as good as they played. And then you see them in the second half and you think pretty much completely opposite. And so that's a team, usually you see, kind of like the Cardinals, week to week, 1 week they're really good. They beat the Cowboys, and the next week they, lay an egg and get beat by Seattle. And then, and you see that from time to time, week to week, especially at the end of the season, maybe resting guys and stuff. But to see it half to half, that obvious to me was a big eye opener.
Yeah, I didn't know. It was like I watched that whole game and I'm sitting there and just in disbelief. Like you and I don't know how many times we said it in that first half. Like Jimmy can't even throw the ball; he's hurt.
Yeah.
Like, why is Trey Lance not in there?
Yeah.
You got it's not that Trey Lance is better than Jimmy G's been, but he's healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, and then all of a sudden, mainly whatever shot he took at halftime made his thumb not hurt. So
yeah. I don't know. I mean, it just seemed like he couldn't push the ball. Not even down the field, but even on screens and just basic out patterns. And then in the second half, I mean, it helps when they come out and run the ball, 7 out of the first 8 plays or 8 out of the first 9, whatever it was. When you can run the ball, I mean, we know this in the NFL, when you can run the ball, it opens up everything for the passing game. And he looks a heck of a lot more comfortable in the slinging the ball in the second half when he did. I mean, he didn't throw it a lot, but he didn't have to because their running game was so good.
Yeah, it was good. It was a fun game to watch. And like I said, I don't really like the Rams, so I don't really like the Niners either. But I don't know. It's hard to cheer for one. But
yeah,
I had Chargers -3. Like I said, that was a 5-leg parlay I had. I don't know what it all was. It was the same game deal. Plus 2,000, no big deal. Chargers couldn't cover the 3 points. And I didn't even realize it until like Tuesday when I looked at my phone, and I'm looking through my bets, and I was like, "Son of a bitch!" I was like, I figured it wasn't even close because I fell asleep because it was so not even close. And I said it last night. Brandon Staley, he needs fired. I think he's supposed to be some kind of defensive mastermind. The defense was better when Anthony Lynn was there.
Yeah,
they're terrible.
Yeah,
I mean, they can't stop anything. And then going forward on 4th down in the 3rd quarter on your 18.
Yeah,
I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously a huge, being a fantasy football guy, I'm a huge fan of offense in the NFL. And so the aggressive part I like, I enjoy, but that's me, sitting here, watching it, wherever I'm watching it, having a few cocktails or whatever it is.
Well, of course.
I'm not on the sideline getting paid millions. But the thing about it is, and I text this, with a couple of buddies also, and I don't know if Nate, if you're in that message or not, but there's a lot of NFL players that have bonuses to make the playoffs, and he's doing this stuff, and you're kind of putting your franchise on your back by being, in my opinion, over aggressive, and I think that that's kind of impossible to do, in my opinion, because I love the aggressive nature and attitude and things like that, but I just thought it was a little too over the top. And he's done that this year. He's done that in some games this year where he's gone for some plays or gone for it on 4th down or gone for 2. And a lot of people say, well, why did he do that? And he just, he has his reasons, and that's why he's the head coach. Do I think that he should be dismissed because of some of his calls? I thought he cost his team the playoffs. And to a lot of people, that's some bonuses. That's, everything they strive for all season long, off season long, is to get to the playoffs and then advance from there. And I think he cost his team. I think that, once again, it was one of those things where I think they thought, hey, we can kind of hang around. We're down 15 points and we got, we can sling it around the field and do it. They made numerous 4th down plays, that kept the drive going, and basically relying on the arm of Herbert. And he was good. And he got some things. I was saying the one thing that I thought about that game, there was some times where you had, Eckler or someone like that going out of bounds with like 7 minutes to go and not really in kind of a hurry up when you're down 15 points. Like the clock would stop, and then, it initially stops, but it doesn't stop completely like it does under 5 minutes. So I thought they took their time a little bit. And I just think that that's kind of some poor coaching. So I think all around his grade for that game would not have been good. And I think it was I think he's a good coach. I think he has a good future. I just thought he was way over aggressive for the circumstance and for the situation.
Yeah, it's all about analytics with him. He's like a big analytics guy, and dude, you can talk about analytics on your drive home from the stadium because you're not going to be back there till October. So have fun. I mean, don't be dumb. I said I love going for on 4th down too, but just sometimes I don't know why he did that. And last night somebody said they're like, you think he should be fired because of the timeout? I said no, it's not the timeout he called. He was trying to get his defense aligned. I mean, they were going to kick a field goal regardless. They're not trying to tie. It just
I thought the same thing. I mean, if you're an athlete and you've been in this situation, not everyone's been in this situation, obviously, to this extent, but even if you played high school sports, there's some times where you want to win. That's all there is to it. And when you're talking about, the professionals, the best, I mean, your goal is not to go out there and tie. That's just not what you do. I mean, it's just not what you do. So, the adrenaline, the competition, all that stuff in you takes over. And if you think that, any of these guys thought, I'm sure there's some people thought, well, hey, if we, from the Raiders, hey, if we miss this field goal, that's okay. Like, we're still in, and that's okay to think that. But to say that they're just, they're trying not to win or knock out, especially a division rival. I mean, you never, you brought this up with the Rams and 49ers game. You don't want to see, you don't, as a player, you don't want to see your other division guys get in the playoffs because they know you better than anyone else. They understand your schemes and things like that. So, I mean, as a competitor, you don't want them moving on. And so I thought that was kind of funny that people are like, well, this is what they want to do. They want to tie. They don't want to knock them out. Well, I mean, I don't know if that's quite the case.
No, I mean, you literally, you build your team to win your division. That's why the Chargers play the Chiefs so well. Like, well, not this year they didn't really, but I mean, like, holy shit, they scored. Anyways, I mean, like, that's what you do. You build your team to win the division. And so why would you want to play guys in your division that are, like I said, built to compete more, not, and like I said, right now it's the best of the best. I get that. But anyways, we'll move on. I did say Packers -3.5 at the Lions, thinking Rodgers would play more than a half. Obviously he didn't, lost by 7, whatever, who cares? So let's move on to the fun stuff. It's going to be a fun weekend, I think. Got some, 2 games Saturday, 3 games Sunday, and a game Monday. So we'll just go in order here. The Bengals got the Raiders coming to town. I don't know about you. I like the Bengals -5.5. I think the Raiders' luck is going to run out. Nothing against old Rich Bisaccia and the boys, but I just think that the Bengals are kind of on another level. Raiders' run defense is very, very bad. So, I don't know. I don't think the Raiders can hang, to be honest.
Yeah, and the Bengals are kind of a fun, feel-good story this year that everyone's kind of rooting for. They're never any good. They have a fun, exciting team that's electric. Big play capabilities all over the place. So I was a little bit shocked to see this under 7. When I saw the spread for it, but I think the Bengals win also, and not it's difficult when you have rookies and stuff like that going into the playoffs. But the Raiders, I mean, Carr's never been there either, so it's not like they have the experience. And I think the emotion side of Sunday night's game with the Raiders and Chargers, may take a little bit of a toll. I mean, you see that sometimes in sports where you come off a huge win or a huge, emotional victory or emotional game, and you tend to dive a little bit the next week. Even professionals do it. It does happen. I just think that, kind of like you said, that their luck is kind of maybe drifting a little bit. And I think the Bengals are they're playing really good right now, which I think is big for the playoffs. And I think this game will be fun to watch, because I think it might be a little more up and down, because I don't think the Raiders defense can hang with the Bengals receivers and Mixon and stuff. So I'm looking forward to this game.
Yeah, like I said, Bengals -5.5, obviously, but I like the over 48.5. I think that the Raiders' lack of defense, and the Bengals' defense is good. I don't think it's great, and obviously Waller, Renfro, and Josh Jacobs look pretty decent too against the Chargers. But again, Chargers don't have a run defense either, so I like that. I also like Burrow over 268.5, Derek Carr over 257.5. I just, like I said, I think they're going to throw the ball all over the place. Both of them over 1.5 touchdowns. Like I said, it's going to be high scoring. I think Mixon will get his, and so will the quarterbacks. And then I like Mixon over 74.5 yards. I know it's a lot, but I think this is going to be like a pretty, I feel like it's going to be a pretty point heavy game.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I think that, like I said, the Bengals can open up everything. And I think the Raiders are going to have to. I mean, we've seen them, especially the first half of the season, they got down quite a bit early in the first halves, especially at home. The first half of the season, and then they'd come charging back, and that's when Carr would kind of turn it up a notch and open things up a little bit. Obviously, there's some different scenarios with the team right now with a different coach and things, but I think the same thing. I think it's going to be kind of an up and down game. I think that Cincinnati can, move the ball pretty quickly on the Raiders. And I think the Raiders, I think Waller has a good game. I think that it was good he came back and played the other day. And then, Renfro kind of got shut down also. I think he had 2 catches for 2 touchdowns, I think. Not certain on that, but I think that's what he had. So to see him anytime under 5 or 6 catches is pretty rare. So I think that there's going to be some stats put up in this game. And I think it'll be pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's going to be a good one. Next one, Saturday night, Bills got the Patriots coming to town for the 3rd time in like 2 months. I feel like they've played each other now. I like the Bills -4. I just think that Mac Jones, it's been fun to watch this year. He's been phenomenal. Better than, I liked him pre-draft, and I think some people didn't. I thought he was going to go to San Francisco. Anyways, I think he's looked really good, and I just don't know if they have the firepower to hang with the Bills when it's not 60-mile-an-hour winds. I don't even really count that first game as, it was the Bills threw it 30 times, but I think the Bills kind of turn it up. The last couple of weeks they've kind of shown that playoff football, that next level, and I think they're primed to make a little bit of a run here. So
yeah, and once again, I think I brought this up a little bit earlier. The playoffs are about usually about teams that are kind of peaking at the right time, and I think the Bills are playing pretty good football, and they found a running game apparently in Singletary. I was shocked at seeing how much Singletary has touched the ball in the red zone.
Yep.
That's a note that I put down about this game is maybe him to score a touchdown. The Patriots have been pretty good against the run this year. They've had a couple of games where they got absolutely embarrassed against the run, but for the most part, they've been very solid. Obviously, one of the best coaches to ever do it is going to shut down some people. So I think that that maybe they kind of key on Allen a little bit, and Singletary gets in the box. I think that the Bills -4 is a pretty good bet. Also, the Patriots have been a fun story to watch this year with the rookie quarterback, with the most experienced, most big name coach. But I think that their time is coming to an end this weekend, and I think that the Bills just have a little bit too much firepower, and I think they have. I think that they've had a good season, but not as good as everyone thought. But I think that their goal was to move forward in the playoffs and get back to the AFC Championship, let alone the Super Bowl. And I think that they're turning on at the right time.
Yeah. I also like Josh Allen over 243.5. I don't know who he's going to throw the ball to, because how Bill's going to shut down. I assume Steph Diggs will kind of get the clamps from J.C. Jackson. But Cole Beasley, I like Dawson Knox score a touchdown. If Diggs is locked up, I know early in the year Knox he had a boatload of touchdowns. So I like him. I also like Damian Harris over 60.5. I know if the Bills are scoring a ton, but the Pats are still going to run the football. They can they're pretty good at running the ball. So
yeah,
60.5 doesn't seem very much.
He's not going to go away from his game plan too much until he absolutely has to. And his game plan is going to be to keep Josh Allen off the field. And one way you do that is by running the ball and having that clock keep on ticking. Yep,
without a doubt. So moving on to the NFC here for a bit. The Eagles going down to Tampa. This is going to be I don't know. I don't know what to think, just because, Tampa's lost some guys, some big guys. Whether or not, I think that the AB situation is not just he's gone now. It's got to kind of mess with some guys, with how it kind of ended like that. Who knows what the real story is? I don't care. But Brady's without some weapons. I like the Eagles +8.5, to be honest with you, but I think Tampa's probably going to win. I think that, a little backdoor cover action, maybe towards the end, score touchdown, but I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I really don't know what to think about this game. Everything you see and hear is the Eagles are good. They're really good at this. They're really good at running the ball. Obviously they didn't do that the first half of the season, and now that they're doing it, they've found themselves in the playoffs, and all this stuff. But ultimately, to me, it just goes back to Tom. It goes back to Brady to me. I've never thought the Eagles were that good this year. I thought they've run the ball pretty good the last half of the season, especially. But I'm just not sold on them. I don't think their defense is as good as what a lot of people, not a lot of people, but what some people have said it's been, leading into the playoffs. I think I just said that, hot teams going into the playoffs tend to do well. They have played pretty well lately, but I just, the Brady factor always wins in my opinion. And and when you're going down to Tampa in the playoffs, I think that Brady last week, he didn't play very good in the first quarter. And then you saw him go and put up, I think they put up 41 points or something. I just think, in the playoffs, I think once he gets rolling, I think they're pretty good. Fournette should be back, right?
He's going to play. I don't think he's 100%, but he is going to play. Hell, Keyshawn Vaughn's looked pretty good the last couple of weeks, which was something that nobody expected. So
he's just, and Brady likes his guys that he goes to. I mean, obviously, he stayed in the game with Gronk. I mean, the Eagles are, I don't know how they've been the last few weeks because unfortunately I've been knocked out of all my fantasy football leagues. But for the most part, I tried playing a lot of tight ends against the Eagles all year because they were terrible against them for the majority of the year. And after Gronk coming off a huge game, I think that that's something to look at for props. I know I looked earlier and I think Gronk's yards were like 58.5 or 55.5. But regardless, I think he has a good game against the Eagles. They're notoriously this year have not been good against the tight end. So I look to see, I look to have Gronk. I think 8.5 is a lot of points for an Eagles team that runs the ball well. But it's just hard for me to bet against Brady on a team that I'm just not completely sold on. So I don't know which way I'd go with that.
I don't know. I mean, it'd be tough to. I'm not going to say I'm going to go put $100 on the Eagles plus 8.5. I just can see it where it's the Bucs are up 12, and last couple 2-minute warning, and then Jalen Hurts finds Devonta Smith for an 85-yard touchdown.
Yeah, or he scrambles for 45 or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I said I like Brady's over 292.5. That's a lot of yards, but he's been he's thrown for he threw over 5,300 yards, 5,400 yards.
Yeah.
It's been pretty automatic. The front seven of the Eagles is that's where they do well. They're not really, really good, but they're decent. Fletcher Cox is good. Alex Singleton has been very good. I think he's, top 20 in tackles. He's had a hell of a year. I think that's who I'm probably starting in the linebacker spot in our playoff league because I don't think they're going to play next week. So I think they'll give Tom some fits, but at the end of the day, like you said, I don't see them.
Yeah, one thing I do like as a bet, and they don't have a prop out for it yet, is Fournette's catches. When Fournette was playing, before he got hurt, he was catching 4, 5, 6, 7 balls a game. So maybe that's a live bet to kind of watch and kind of see how he's moving and how he's, how much he's playing in healthiness. But when he does play, we know that Brady likes to drop the ball off to running backs, and he trusts Fournette in that situation. So that's a good prop I really like. There's nothing out yet for his catches. I think his yards were out at I don't remember what they were at, but I think I saw his yards were out. But that's something maybe to check in a live bet is Fournette's catches, because I think if he plays full time, I think he gets 5 catches.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's pretty. Probably pretty easy, really, because like you said, he's been one of his trusted guys, lately, and I think that he's missing some boys. So I think he was
getting all those catches with Godwin and with I guess AB was gone at that point in time, but with Gronk, on the sideline and stuff. So he with all these guys gone, he might see over 10 targets. You just never know. So
yeah. No, I agree. I think that'd be a good one. There's no one I've looked at, but I can't remember it now, so it doesn't matter. Moving on, Chiefs got the Steelers coming to town. Is it going to be is this like the final run for Big Ben? Is he going to beat the Chiefs and go on to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, all I see on social media is Big Ben's retirement party at Arrowhead Stadium Sunday night. So, and I think that's exactly what it's going to be. Obviously Roethlisberger's had a hell of a career.
Yeah, Hall of Famer. Awesome dude. I mean, minus what happened before social media, but it's fine. No big deal. We're not worried about that.
Yeah. But watching him try to throw the ball on Sunday, like throw an out pattern, I mean, it was painful for me to sit here and watch it. And it was just not good.
You've knocked a lot of beer cans off my head with a football, and you throw the ball 10 times harder than Big Ben, and I've never been nervous about you hitting me in the nose. So, I mean, like I said, Big Ben, I don't even know if he can get it to me.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Yeah,
I just probably hit me in the stomach.
Yeah. One thing I do that I kind of made notes about this game is the Chiefs beat the heck out of them. Was it week 16? And they had no Kelsey that game, and Tyreek only saw 2 targets. So the Chiefs have, up until their little winning streak this year, they had a hard time covering. They're notoriously known as one of the teams that just didn't cover.
They never cover.
And but I think that this game is I think it's kind of like week 16, and then you throw Kelsey into the mix. I think it gets out of hand early, so they can kind of rest Tyreek. And it sounds like CEH might be back. So I think that Mahomes kind of puts it on and sends Ben off to an early retirement, even earlier than the end of the fourth quarter. I think it's a retirement maybe at halftime. So I like the Chiefs, and I don't bet on the Chiefs just because they rarely cover, but I think that they're much better than the Steelers are right now. So,
hey, guess who just beat the goddamn Toronto Maple Leafs?
The Coyotes.
Hell yeah, 2-1. I did. I won 2 parlays because of that.
Yeah,
nice.
I said at the beginning of this, don't always bet against really bad hockey teams, and here you are betting.
Yeah, they're
on the
really
Coyotes.
bad. Don't bet on them. Don't bet on them again. But somehow they won. That's funny.
That's crazy.
2 parlays. Anyways, back to football. I won't bet on the Chiefs minus 12.5. Like I said, they don't cover. They haven't. Not very often. I know they beat the hell out of the Steelers last time, but
yeah,
I don't know. I could see them boat racing them, but the Chiefs are also notorious for they might be up by 30 and then they just stop.
Yeah. Well, we've seen the Steelers get down by 3-4 scores quite a bit this year. I think they had a Sunday night football game. They were getting trounced by someone, and they came back. I mean, I don't know if they can do that playoff style. I don't know if they can do that against the Chiefs. I just think that the Chiefs are, I think that, up until last week, they were playing really good football. And I think the Steelers were not. And I think that
they stink, dude.
Just watching Ben throw the ball, I mean, I think he's going to have some pressure from that D line. And I think that he's going to be in for a long night, or maybe even a quick night. It might be done by halftime, but I just don't see this game, playing 3 or 4 quarters. Now, who's to say that the Steelers could come back and make it a game and cover that 12.5 backdoor one? I would not doubt that. But I'm not saying, hey, this is my number one bet of the weekend, the Chiefs, because that's not the case for a team that notoriously does not cover.
No.
But I just think that the Chiefs are just they're way better than the Steelers, and I think that shows, and those usually play out and win in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I will say that if they would just give Najee Harris the ball, as much as all the time. I mean, he looks great with a terrible offensive line.
Yeah.
Just
he
imagine
have
if
a fumble
he played
this
on
season. Did I hear or see that today?
He's going to Sunday now.
Yeah, well, that's all right. I mean, if that's the case, go bet it. So,
yeah.
I mean, how many touches does he have this year? And I don't think he's had a fumble, and that's pretty impressive for as much as he's on the field and how much he touches the ball. I mean, for a rookie to do that,
he's a monster.
Yeah, he's damn good.
I said whatever hit, like kind of you said earlier, it's not out, but whatever his touches are, I would probably bet the over, probably yards. Tomlin's going to do kind of what we were talking about with Bill. I mean, they don't want Mahomes on the field, so Mike Tomlin's he's an awesome coach. I love Mike Tomlin.
Unreal.
I mean,
yeah, he's awesome.
Smart enough to know. Let's just keep running the ball. Keep running the ball because Pat's on the field. So
yeah.
But moving on to the Monday night game.
I think we
Cardinals,
skipped the Niners-Dallas game.
Oh shit, we did.
Yeah.
That's like the one I want to talk about the most. I just like the NFC.
Do you want to wait
for
that one till the end? We can do that.
Yep, let's do that. Okay. We'll talk about it last. So Monday night game is Cardinals going to LA to play the Rams. I like the Cardinals +4. I don't know why. I just don't trust the Rams right now. I know, like you said, they are loaded on both sides of the ball. But Stafford never won a playoff game. I know neither's Kyler, but kind of different situation. Stafford has not taken care of the ball at all lately. And I know that McVay's got Kingsbury's number, whatever you want to say. I don't care. I don't trust the Rams. I don't. And I'm probably wrong saying that I like the Cardinals +4, but I don't know. I'm going for it.
And that was part of our conversation via text on Sunday. Is every time I was just saying all this great things about the Rams, you never really respond back, quite agreeing with me. And then obviously you were right in the second half. But I think this team is very loaded. I think that the cream rises to the top, and I think that they're loaded with talent. I think that they're way better with Sony Michel getting his touches. We've seen him, catching the ball out of the backfield the last couple of weeks. I think that McVay knows that Michel needs to touch the ball a little bit more to open up the play action, which is where I think Stafford's the best at. I think that's where he really strives is getting that ball, putting on his hip and getting out and open and letting it fly downfield. And guess what? He's got the receivers to do it also. Oh, yeah. I'm a huge fan of Kupp and Van Jefferson. So I think that there's a lot of things that look positive towards the Rams in this game. I would say that the Rams are playing at home. That's good. But we saw this year where Arizona had a better record on the road than they did at home. So, so I don't know if that really plays anything into this factor. The Cardinals are a team where I thought they were really, I thought they were good all season long. But I never thought they deserved, a top 2 or 3 power rankings when they were undefeated. I thought they were good, but they don't have that. They didn't have that wow factor to me especially once they lost D-Hop. AJ Green's played good. It was Zach Ertz has been a huge help for them. But I think having, missing D-Hop is a big piece to miss. And I think that that was kind of Kyler's outlet. When he's scrambling around, he can always, it's always easy to find D-Hop. He's got to scramble
because he's not tall enough to see over the line. So
what's that?
I say he's got to scramble because he's not tall enough to see over the offensive line.
Yeah.
And I love Kyler, but he's going to struggle with that literally forever. That he can't see over the line. So,
but he's damn good.
He's so good.
He's really good. He's fun to watch. He's excited. Yeah. I wish this game is a good Monday night game. I think this game is going to be a fun game to watch as well. I don't know if I'm a fan of the Monday night game this year. I kind of like the 3 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday.
Yeah, that would have been way better.
But I don't know. I don't know what to think of that new format for this weekend. But I think that this game will be a good game, very similar to the Rams 49ers last week, where I think we're going to see, it's not going to be a snooze fest. So,
no.
I think I want to go opposite and take the Rams -4, though.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't.
I mean, after your 0-7 week last week, I got to try something. So,
dude, just go whatever, the opposite. You're probably right. I don't know. I can see the Rams just blowing the doors off of them, but I don't know. If they can get pressure on Stafford, I think they'll, he's been getting the shit beat out of him, it seems like, too. I mean, he's been.
Yeah, he got up a few times last week after some hits and did not look comfortable. The one thing about it, though, is, the 49ers, what they really, put down the Rams' throat was running the ball. And I don't know if James Conner can do that. I mean, that's not really their MO. But it's, James Conner's had a hell of a season, but that's not really their type of style of football. And I think that's what the Rams struggle against. I think their line and linebackers, when they're on the field that long and run after run after run, I just think they got worn down. And I don't know if that's quite the case. I don't know if that would be quite the case against Arizona.
Yeah, I don't know if Chase and Jimmy Connor could do that, but you probably just talked me out of it. I'm probably going to take the Rams -4, but whatever, don't care. Let's talk about the last one, the fun one. Niners going to Dallas. Last night I said I like Dallas, but the last 2 days I don't know what to think. I'm nervous. the 49ers are so incredibly physical that I don't know if and Coach Shep's last night, he's a huge Dallas fan. He's so scared because the Broncos beat the shit out of the Cowboys. And the Niners remind him of the Broncos, just incredibly physical, can run the ball whenever they want. And it kind of almost talked me into betting the 49ers +3. I don't know what way I really want to go, to be honest with you, but I guess I wrote down 49ers +3. But last night I said Dallas -3. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that whatever way that hook goes in favor, I think is which kind of way you got to go at betting this. I mean, 49ers are one of those teams that they are just, because they're so physical and because they run the ball so well, and they don't get away from it. Even they're down, 3 scores last week.
It was 17-0 and they're still running the ball.
Yeah, in a game where you have to win to get in. I think they hold true to that. That Dallas has struggled against that, as you mentioned, against Denver. But Dallas is playing good. I think Dak, having 5 touchdowns last week, builds a lot of confidence for him going into a playoff game like this. I don't know. Dallas is one of those teams. Both these teams really kind of scare me quite a bit in their own different ways. I think that Dallas can push the ball up and down the field. And obviously, you and I have talked about this. I think Micah Parsons, his season he's had is
awesome.
I mean, one of the best ever, let alone a rookie. I mean, it is incredible watching him. And the reason why I say that is he gets moved around so much. Obviously there's been a lot of phenomenal individual defensive seasons, but where he's moved and he's been successful in every single position is crazy good to me. So I don't know if he's kind of a key factor on a running back this week. I don't know what they'll scheme up for that. I don't, he's more of a pass rusher than he is anything else, but he's shown he can kind of play and do anything. So he's awesome. I don't know what to think in this game. I think this game is going to be a good one to watch. I'm really this is probably my most favorite game I'm looking forward to this weekend.
Yeah.
Because I think both these teams are very solid. And I think both these teams, if they get hot, like any team, I guess, but if they get hot, these teams can put a scare into anyone in the playoffs. They have weapons all over the place offensively, defensively as well. And so I think that this game is going to be a really good one to watch. I think Debo scores at least one. I think he gets in the box twice. I think you see players like kind of a Kittle stepping up this game. He seemed to have a really small game last week. I think he had 4 catches for 9 yards or something. I could be wrong, but he
wants to block. He doesn't care. He'd rather block than score touchdowns anyway.
Yeah.
So
and he most notably he wants to win, and he'll do whatever it takes. And if that's getting the ball in his hands, then he's a force with that in his hands as well. So this game's gonna be fun. If Jimmy G throws the ball like he did in the second half, I think that Dallas is in trouble. If he throws the ball like he did against the Rams in the first half, I think that Dallas is going to be in pretty good shape because I think they might have some short fields.
No, I like Jimmy G over 1.5 touchdowns. I saw that on DraftKings or whatever. I just, even if it's like a little shovel pass to Debo, you know what I mean? Like they do that all the time. I like Debo over 28.5 rushing yards. I think his receiving yards it was fairly low too, but definitely the rushing. They're going to give him the ball. They always do.
I think if you can find a rushing and a receiving stat, I think Debo gets well over 100. I mean, he's incredible. I mean, he is. Dude,
it's awesome to watch. He looks like a running back when he's he's carrying. He's like, it's wild, man. He's awesome.
It's kind of like, what I was saying about Parsons going, playing everywhere on the defensive side. I mean, Debo is done. I mean, he can throw it. Obviously, he did that. I mean, he can run. He can obviously catch. He can run after catch. He's a huge weapon that you can put anywhere, line up anywhere, and defensive units have to realize that. And I think that they do whatever they can to scheme to get him the ball, because I think they know on offense that's their ticket to moving on to next week. Running the ball is one thing, but you can kind of collectively shut down a a zone run, if you, put your mind to it. But I think that ultimately, I don't know if you can shut down Debo. I don't, he's everywhere. And I think he's damn good. So
yeah, I
don't see him getting less than 100. That's for sure.
No, and I like Kyle Juszczyk over 7.5 receiving yards. I feel like he's going to be in the game a lot. The Dallas, they have a very good rush, whether it's 4 guys, whether they send 5, 6, whatever they do. He's going to be in there to chip dudes and, little dump offs from Jimmy G.
Yeah.
7.5 yards one time.
Holding kicks. I mean, he does it all, right? He did it all last weekend. I saw him once again, same thing. He's in the game nonstop, and I bet him last week live for over, I think it was 2.5 receiving yards or 4.5 or whatever it was. I bet it, and he didn't hit it, but this is something I'd go back to the well with, because I agree. I think he catches a couple, and I think they're for a big first down. So that's the type of player and mentality he is too.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Shanahan likes those guys that are just, old school, hard headed. Like, I don't care. I want to win. I don't care what I have to do, whether I'm blocking every single play. He's always out there. And when I saw him holding the kick, I was like, what the hell's going on? I'm like, oh, well, the punter's hurt. And then Robbie Gold, hell, he did okay punting.
Yeah, but, right. I think the announcer at one point said they wanted to see him come out and punt also, because he could do everything else. But why not? I mean, he can. He's just one of those team players. I mean, we've seen guys like this forever. Me being a Packers fan, I've seen guys like this that just kind of do whatever for the team to win. And obviously he's one of those guys for the 49ers that, and the fullback is not as, it's obviously not as important or as played of a position as what it used to be, but they find spots for him, and he's good. I mean, he's good at what he does. So to see him drift out and catch a couple screens or something and get a couple first downs, I definitely see that happen.
Yeah, I like that one. And one I talked myself out of earlier too with the Tampa Bay game was Cameron Brate. His over-under was like 15 yards. And I worry. I don't know. I like him because he has very good hands, but he's not a very good blocker. And I don't know if they'll have him in there to try to chip some dudes, but maybe that one. But
and I said, I think the Eagles are terrible against the tight end. So
yeah, and 15 yards, except 2 catches.
Yeah,
whatever. So hey, we got through all the games. Like I said, check us out. Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, wherever you can find us. You can check out the show, TotalStyles.com. It's all kinds of fantasy content, very good NFL content. Check out our Patreon, and check out the show at Total Styles on Twitter. And Abe, thanks so much, man. I had a blast.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, we'll have to do it again. And you can find Abe at MVINFF. Like I said, check us out. We're not too big of homers. Actually, we're not. Actually, we're probably the 2 least homer Packers fans I know. I'm saying that now, but
well, you should see us on Sunday watching a game together. You might have a different opinion, but
yeah, hell with them. But no, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you again next week. And Abe,
appreciate it. Yep.
Hell yeah, dude. We'll have you on again soon.
Sounds good. Looking